Welcome to another market update. Today is February 10, 2018. Hey, I hope you didn't get all beaten up by the market. I know it's been a tough week. Sort of crazy week, right? Wild swing. And sometime when you watch the market just getting dumped, you kind of wonder when this will come to an end. Well, I think a lot of people is throwing their gas out there, and the people try to comfort other people to say hang in there, and there are people is still out there calling out 1929 and everything. So but regardless, we're going to take a look at what the market is telling us. Okay, so let's start off with the VIX. This is the monthly chart of the VIX, and as you can see, that big spike up here back in October 2008 is still the record high here, 89.53. Although last week we did have a high of was at 50.30, a little bit shy of the high that was made back in August 2015 at 53.29. But nevertheless, we see that that the VIX spiked up fairly quickly, and it is that the speed of the fear in the market sell-off that catches a lot of people by surprise. I think a lot of us is sort of anticipating a pullback from the market and and start being a little bit more cautious on the long side. But when the market come in with such a velocity on the downside, it's not too much one can do to avoid some damages, right? I mean, no matter how prepared you are, unless you are 100% short, okay. And and if you're only day trading, then that would be one way to avoid some of the damage if you did not go counter trend and bottom picking or try to catch a falling knife. But for most of the investor and swing trader, definitely those of us that do a little bit of a swing and investing certainly got a little bit damage in the portfolio, and one would be lying if they said they didn't, right? Okay, so let's take a look at the VIX a little bit and see what we could expect might happen in the coming days. You can see that at the beginning of the week, VIX really shot up, and then by Friday close, it actually closed back down below the at the bottom half of the weekly range here, and you can see that on Monday it really shot up, right? Okay, solidly. Non-stop, and then on Tuesday it opened and shot up and really scared a lot of people. It's probably a lot of capitulation there, and then after that panic selling, it came back down, right? And then so still people waiting to get out to say just heck with it, and the fear factor came back up. Then on Wednesday, kind of got a little bit of a chopping around. I can't decide what the heck to do, so still the fear level is still elevated, elevated up at the the 27 area, and then on Thursday we got another round of fear coming in, right? So and try to push up, and then on Friday, as you can see on Friday, I think that's where we probably got some capitulation here, because if you look at on Friday, we actually have a intraday low, right? That intraday low did not accompany with a intraday higher high, that basically higher than this high here that was put in on Tuesday, that 50.30. So that tell me that maybe basically it's just those last hang out, hoping for the best, finally gave up and capitulated and sell whatever they need to sell just to get comfortable, right? So that's basically what I'm seeing on the VIX here. And if we take a look at the US dollar, because that seems to be not the the US dollar is part of it because it's due to the bond. We'll take a look at the bond later on. a little bit later. And here's the monthly, the dollar index here. You can see that, got this sort of like a head and shoulder, and also put a major move here. And if the dollar continue to come down, we could essentially see this thing coming down to the 618 to 86.76 or to the 81.99 on a 100% major move. Right, we have this little bit of a support zone here. The dollar trying to get back up to this support zone. You can see on the weekly here, you can see that dollar is, the last couple of weeks is trying to rebound. Got a little bit of a rebounding going on, right? And you can see some of that reflect on the oil prices also. But we take a look at the crude oil later. So that's the dollar. And then if we take a look at the British pound here, right? Okay, if we get the British pound up here, you can see that the British pound is also coming back up on this price zone here. Kind of test this price zone, it's pulling back. And if we take a look at this weekly chart here, remember weekly is like a little bit of an inverted head and shoulder pattern. Right? It broke out of this neckline and trying to make its move up to the major move, but it's kind of encountered some resistance here and sort of pull back to this neckline. So we're going to see, would it be able to come down to this zone and get a bounce and continue to move back up. So essentially you get a little bit of a reprieve for the US dollar to bounce a little bit and then reverse and continue its way down. And same thing with the euro. Right, you look at this on the so here's the monthly chart, right, and here's the weekly again. You essentially look like a inverted head and shoulder pattern. It broke and came up a little bit and is now kind of coming back and retest this neckline before it make its move up to the to the major move. Okay, so and if we take a look at the bond, here's the 5-year. Okay, the 5-year bond here, and you see that it sort of looked like a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern here, right? And right now I basically got a major move setting it down to 618 extension would be 111.59, and the 100% major move would be 109.36. Okay, so we could get a little better look on the weekly here. You can see that it's trying to get back above this neckline, right, this zone here, above this 115.20 area, okay, and unable to stay up there, right? You can see on that daily, okay. And then if we look at the 10 years, right, the 10-year bond, and similarly as the like the 5, you can see this baseline here again. Look like a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern, and it's basically trying to break that neckline and trying to make its way down. So it's still kind of bouncing around, maybe trying to hold this neckline a little bit longer before it breaks. Right, so you can see that chopping action here on the daily. Okay. And then on the 10-year bond, right, the 10-year, we also see this long-term trend line. It broke this long-term trend line. So what I basically have right here is this particular swing and try to project it down here, right? And if it get this 100% major move, then it will be 129.75, and the 618 would be 140.23. So this is the key here. It broke this trend line here, and this has been a multi-year trend line since the back in 2007. Right, so if we take a look at the weekly, you can see that weekly price action, and you look at this right here. Here's a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern, right? Okay, so we're going to see that on the daily. And on the daily here, you see this head and shoulder pattern played out to a certain degree here, right? It broke and it's coming down to this trend line. So right now it came to this 1618, and we'll basically see what come all the way down to this 100% major move to this 141.25. Right, so that's the bond, and let's take a look at the gold. Take a look at how that affected the gold here on the dollar. You see that gold right now is still kind of hovering around this 1300 area, right? Okay, and basically what we're looking at is for this thing to break this sort of an inverted head and shoulder pattern, right? And still holding above this trend line here. Okay, so right now it's just kind of waiting for this thing to break out of this 1400 level. If we break this 1400 level, then we'll be looking at 16 to 1700 area. Okay, for a potential target for this inverted head and shoulder pattern. So if you take a look at the weekly, all right, so we can see that weekly price action here is still just trying to creep above this, 1400. So it's kind of making its way. So just have to keep this higher low going, and slowly come up to this 1400 and try to break through it. Okay, and if we take a look at the crude oil and see that on the monthly here, we take a look at the monthly. Remember, we are talking about this, multi-year double bottom here, right? Okay, and it broke this, double bottom pivot, and it came up, and so it came back down and testing that breakdown. See how the price, correlated a little bit to the U.S. dollar. Remember, the dollar was moving back up on the weekly basis. Right, if we get the dollar back on, right, you see how the dollar come up. You see the dollar been coming down, and the crude oil price has been going up. And then when the dollar rebound, the crude oil also pull back. Right, so we take a look at that. Right, so see, that's when the dollar was coming down. Right, and then we got the dollar pushing, bouncing up. Bouncing back up a little bit, and then now we got this crude oil prices going back down. Right, so just kind of keep an eye on that. I still believe that once we get a little bit of a test here, chop around and test this baseline, then we zoom back up, we'll be looking at somewhere around close to 68 to the low 70, right, for the oil. Okay, so now let's go and take a look at the ES. All right, let's start off looking at the market profile on the ES, the E-mini S&P 500. Okay, as you can see, on Monday we have a heck of a day, right? Very ugly looking distribution on the market profile, but look at all these other days. It's not that bad. I mean, it's fairly balanced, except it's got a pull high here. But look at all these other days. It's pretty balanced, and this one got a pull low. So it got repair on Friday, and this pull high got repair the following day. All right. So looking at this, this profile, it is not that bad of a profile. Okay, so it's fairly clean and fairly balanced. All right. Okay, so right now we're essentially looking for the possibility of, well, first of all, you could see that after Monday we sort of have a zigzagging type of day, and and then we got a sort of one-time framing down for a couple of days, and I wouldn't be surprised that we will see a maybe a little bit of a short covering day on Monday, and then possibly another balance day to sort of set up a new balance zone, a balance area for this market to break out from it again. Right? And I suspect that it would break above, break out on the upside and try to clean up some of these point of control and single print, right? Because also the other thing is I know I sort of tweeted out on Twitter to say watch this January 29 overnight high. That is also the all-time high that was made on an overnight session, and that that level is 2878.50, and we need to watch this market come up and tag this eventually before this thing could officially roll over to the downside or whatever, right? But right now, there's still some a lot of unfinished business down here that need to be cleaned up, as well as above the 5-day close. So it could go either way, but based on the price action of Friday's candle, right? Let me put up the price chart here, and we take a look at the weekly. You can see that weekly, came down to this trend line, got a nice bounce here, reversal. Right? And on the daily, you can see that sort of a doji hammer. Right? Seems like got some capitulation down here. Then the buyer came in, stopped buying, and then we got some short squeeze. Squeeze some of the short, that the leg short, and then it's kind of put him back up here. But on the the intraday chart, there is a little bit of a selling at the end, so we got to be careful. And that's why I suspect that we might see a little bit of a selling on Monday open. We probably could see something maybe come down, right, into the zone, and then maybe chop around, and then come back up, and maybe try to make it up to this zone here, right? Okay. So we could see that sort of action here, and if you come down here and chop around here and then move up, that would give a nice little bit of a double bottom, intraday double bottom for this thing to move up, right? But anything is possible. It could just continue to sell off and come down to to this zone here at the 250, the 248 area here, and maybe even lower, right? And go down and finish the unfinished business, because we also got a lot of level underneath that. Okay, so okay, so that's basically, okay, that's a SPY. I'm sorry about that. Let me go back. No wonder I didn't see the profile. Okay, so that's the SPY. Let's go and take a look at the ES. Okay, here's the ES, because we're looking at the market profile chart on the ES, but there's a similar price action or price pattern on the ES as the SPY, because they pretty much correlated. Right, so you can see that the ES came down on this trend line and got a nice bounce on the weekly, and same thing on the daily here. Here's the doji hammer here, came down to this zone 25.41.50. Right, and I got a nice bounce when it came down to near that 25.30, right? And we have some some price zone down here that could also get tested if it continue to come down. And these are fairly high volume zone, right? And right now, basically looking for this thing to possibly come back up and test this chop around at this high volume zone here at the 26.81.50, and see would it be able to break through this zone and cut to these price zone here, okay, and try to work itself back up to the 2700, and then maybe chop around here before it try to move back up and tag that overnight all-time high. Right, so this is the intraday chart here. So you can see that the last half an hour or so, we got some selling after some squeeze up, right? Okay, so we got these shooting star type of candle. So I wouldn't be surprised that we see a little bit of a pullback on Monday open. Maybe back to this zone here. Okay, I was talking about the SPY, so it could come back into this zone and maybe chop, then work itself back up and into this zone here at the 26.98, 26.81 area. Okay, so that would give us a nice little bit of a double bottom pivot to move up, right? Or we could also be coming back down to these price zone here at the 25.06. And possibly the 24.79 or 24.80, right? So also if we take a look at some of the VPOCs, right? So we got some VPOC down here that need to be tagged, okay? And of course we got some up here as well, right? So, and if we go back to the SPY and take a look at this SPY a little bit, right? Okay, so let's go and go back on the weekly. again, right? Came down to this trend line, got a nice bounce, right, on the daily. So you can see that it came down to 259, 254 price zone here, and came back and got a nice bounce on finish up Friday with a doji hammer. Then on the intraday, we did see a shooting star here on the last 15 minutes. Okay, so we do expect maybe a little bit of a continuation of selling on the open, right? And when it get back up here, we probably got some of those trap long that probably want to bail out and get the money back. So we'll probably see a little bit of a selling when it get up here and come back down and test the 259 maybe, right, before we get a little bounce back up and try to take out, get back into the zone of the 266, 268 area. Okay, so that's basically the recap and the update on the market. Like I said, hopefully you didn't get hurt too much on the last week's price action. So hey, if you find this video useful, please give it a thumbs up. Click the like and give us a thumb up to let me know that you found it useful. And if you're not a subscriber to my YouTube video channel, click the subscribe button on the lower right hand corner and subscribe to my channel. And you can also follow me on Twitter. My handle is smtraderCA. Okay, thank you for watching and have a great weekend.